Live from our studio here at Kokomlemle in Accra, this is the Joy News Prime. Coming up, Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority to conduct a full-scale investigation into conduct of officers captured in Joy News' investigative piece, Porous Borders taking bribes as low as 20 cedis to allow smuggling of goods into the country.
In the video, just a synopsis of the video. I want to see the complete video. Indeed, if based on the face value of what we see, full investigation will be conducted.
Also, GR is set to pay 95 million cedis in judgment debt to West Blue Consulting Limited for the cancellation of their services at the port in 2020.
Finally, they terminated the contract without any justification, and the state has to pay 95 million Ghana cedis as judgment debt to West Blue. The shocking aspect of it is that West Blue lawyer now is Gabriel Thao.
Also, Chief of Defense Staff Lieutenant General Opona questioning about disparities in some of the claims in the armed forces communication concerning Richard Jakpa's release from the force.
The grounds for the release of A3 are not totally accurate.
Yes, my lady.
We have details from a hearing here to reviewed. It does not know who released confidential information about Richard Jakpa to the Ministry of Defense for onward submission to the Attorney General at 8. Now, the ambulance trial is taking a dramatic turn as the Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Opona, took the stand today and was cross-examined by lawyers for the various parties on the disparities in some of the claims in the armed forces communication concerning Richard Jakpa's release from the force. The top military officer revealed he does not know the person in the armed forces who released confidential information about third accused Richard Jakpa to the Ministry of Defense, for which influenced the ministry's report to the Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Dame. Court correspondent Latif Idrisu has more.
This is what the Chief of Defense Staff told the court, that misconduct, the word that was used or suggested to Richard Jakpa during cross-examination by prosecution, that he was released or sacked from the military because of misconduct. Today, the Chief of Defense Staff has told open court that the word misconduct does not appear in the military release letter to Richard Jakpa.
Now, let's look at the table attached to Exhibit BF3, where a military officer does not pay his debts. Which of the reasons for release is applicable to him?
My lady, is misconduct and is having failed to settle his private debts.
Please tell the court whether misconduct appears in Exhibit BF3, which is the Army's release letter to the third accused.
My lady, no.
Now that you do not know, or you cannot tell the court, who released the confidential records of the third accused person to the minister, were you able to find out from your, were you able to institute an inquiry into it?
My lady, I did not receive any correspondence, but some documents have been released to the court, so I couldn't do that.
The Chief of Defense Staff also, when asked by Abdul Basit Bamba, who is lawyer for Dr. Keisila Forcing, whether or not he's ever cited any court order for the release of Jakpa's sack letter to the AG, his answer was an emphatic no.
Exhibit BF1 is addressed to the Honorable Minister for Justice and Attorney General.
Yes,
have you seen any court order served on you or made available to you that indicates that Exhibit BF1 should be released to the Office of the Honorable Attorney General?
No, my lady.
When you compare Exhibit BF1 to Exhibit BF3, I suggest to you that the reasons stated by the Honorable Minister of Defense in Exhibit BF1 as the grounds for the release of A3 are not totally accurate.
Yes, my lady.
the CDS went ahead to state that the defense minister can go ahead and release confidential information about an officer to, say, the court.
Does the Minister for Defense consult you, the Chief of Defense Staff, in releasing a document to another public officer, including the Attorney General?
My lady, he exercises the right to copy me or not.
And that is what normally prevails. The Minister for Defense does not necessarily consult you in releasing any document at all.
My lady, I won't say it's normal, but he can do that.
Now, the NDC flag bearer John Mahama is accusing the governing NPP of not telling Ghanaians the truth, as he says the country's economic situation is worse than what the people are being told. Speaking at the launch of the party's national campaign at Tamale in the northern region over the weekend, he said he will not tell lies. He promised constitutional reforms, employment, a national women's bank, and many other initiatives. Well, let's bring in a political analyst, Dr. Jonathan Asan to help us appreciate the fallout from the NDC's campaign launch over the weekend. Doc, I'm grateful to you for joining. Many have suggested that the NDC's choice of Tamale as its campaign launch destination was to tighten up its grip on a region which seems to be slipping away from them. Do you agree?
Yeah, let me say good evening to Mr. Brace and good evening to your viewers. It makes a lot of sense that they chose the northern region in particular to launch that particular campaign. Strategically and over the period, the North has been a home of the NDC, starting from the founder of the party, Mr. Rawlings himself, who opened up, the territories of the North, so to speak, in terms of good roads, and don't forget rural electrification projects. And so the people of the North, have seen the NDC as part, or is their home, so to speak. And having had a situation where your main opponent has also, elected, someone also from the North, and if you look at the 2020 elections, it appears that the MPP is making some kind of inroads. So you wouldn't want to lose your grip on that particular region. And that's the more reason why I feel that, or I'm of the view that it is quite strategic that they chose that particular place to launch the campaign. And if you look at the patronage, it tells you that they are really ready.
Okay. Now, John Mahama says 4 years is enough for him to reset the country. Is 4 years really enough for any president to make an impact?
The Constitution allows every elected president 4 years. It is in the wisdom of the Constitution to do so. 8 years is not a given. You have to work hard to be able to get something of that sort. And I see that more as a smack of arrogance, thinking that once you've been given 4 years, you'll be given 8 years. You're supposed to work within that 4-year period that you have been given. That is the constitutional mandate, and you need to work around that. Now, if you look at the 4 pillars that he has put out there, then it is more likely that you'll be able to reset the country. Because if you find yourself in debt crisis as of now, you've given people a haircut, the interest rate is quite high, your GDP is quite high, the inflation is equally high. Now, the only thing you have to do is to be modest in your expenditure, of which our current government has stopped short of. They've not been able to be modest. And that is why we find ourselves today. So modesty is crucial. Now, he's talking about honesty. Now, honesty is a principle that we need as a nation now, so that those, if you ask them to buy the bullet for a year, they know that per virtue of your sincerity and honesty, they are likely to see the light of day come the next year, and then they'll buy into that. Hard work. You cannot fulfill this economy, what is it called, 24-hour economy, right, without hard work.
Okay. Now, it's good you come to 24-hour economy, because that was mentioned again at the NDC's campaign launch. Do you think it's a policy that has really been accepted by Ghanaians?
If you ask me, I think it has gone down well with Ghanaians, and that's the more reason why Dr. Bawumia appears quite jittery and throwing tantrums against that particular policy as empty. But as far as trade unions are concerned, and other stakeholders are concerned, that is the game changer. And that is something they've been harping on.
Okay.
You see, and I think that to be able to solve this problem of, what's it called, the GDP being high, interest rate being high, you know, unemployment being high, what's it called, depreciation of the cedi, you know, I mean, all these things, you will have to, it will have to evolve around a connected value chain. And I think that his explanation of the 24-hour economy is something, if they will be able to implement that, I think that will be the game changer.
Okay, all right.
And
I'm grateful to you,
important.
Dr. Jonathan Otri, for joining us here. Away from that, Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority says it will commence a full-scale investigation into the conduct of officers captured on tape taking bribes to allow smuggled goods into the country. The revelation is contained in the latest Joy News investigative piece, Porous Borders, where some customs officials take as low as 20 Ghana cedis to allow traders smuggle goods into Ghana from neighboring countries. We'll hear from the Commissioner of the Customs shortly, but first, here are excerpts of the documentary.
At the Alubo border post, this customs official, who was identified as Kujo, allowed our boxes of rice bought from La Côte d'Ivoire into Ghana. We did not pay the statutory taxes. When the team got to the customs checkpoint at Samir, our vehicle was inspected by 2 customs officials. They asked me to follow them to their office. They demanded I paid a bribe of 20 cedis and left me to go with the boxes of rice.
So I'm going to use to celebrate small S-man.
What do you have?
Rice.
How much?
3.
And you are going to use it?
Oh, I'll dash down to my pastor. And then other people.
Typically, you want.
We are in the festive.
The driver knows better.
I
the moment he
think
takes you, he informs you the nitty-gritty. I'll dash you one and pay for the 2.
The 2, how much would I pay? 20. Thank you very much.
Here's the book for me to you.
Hey, thank you very much.
My number is 11.
I thought you were coming to give me receipt.
Oh. But the receipt when you pay the duty. The duty is
Reacting to the findings of the documentary at the Public Accounts Committee sitting today, Commissioner of Customs Brigadier General Ziblim Ayorogo says they are ready to look into the matter.
Indeed, this system is coming in place in September, God willing. It is not only for Ghana, Nigeria, Niger, and Togo, and Cote d'Ivoire. The training is going to be given to us, and this training is likely to end 2026, God willing. Now, normally when you have lack of manpower, you have to use this system of geospatial intelligence. And the Japanese government is actually very willing to assist us in this direction. That is one approach, because now we have to apply science. We do not have the personnel. This science will reveal the position of the activities of our own and others, and that is likely to give us a lot of revenue. Another issue has to do with even the marine unit. The waters that we have, all the water bodies that we have, we used to have a marine unit, but the marine unit, with all due respect, is no more. And we are now trying to re-establish. All the water bodies are empty. We have other units like the Navy, but that's not their primary responsibility. The primary responsibility of smuggling or moving on board the waters in terms of revenue is Ghana Revenue Authority. Now, back to the issue of the video. I've seen the video, just a synopsis of the video. I want to see the complete video. Indeed, if based on the face value of what we see, full investigation will be conducted. And I mean full investigation. Interestingly, this is where I spent all my years in. So it's not going to be a doubt. I have some know-how, let me say it for now, that if people are wrong, indeed, they will be dealt with. But I have not seen the video completely. I just saw just a synopsis.
Well, full video, the full length of that video will be played tonight at 8:30 p.m. so you can catch that up. Meanwhile, some other matters came out from the Public Accounts Committee today, including a 95 million cedis judgment debt payment to West Blue Ghana Limited. James Aveji has a wrap of events.
In August 2015, the Ghana Revenue Authority and the Ministry of Finance entered into an agreement with West Blue Ghana Limited to develop a software infrastructure to monitor all goods coming into the country through land, sea, and air borders. The move was to help GRA increase revenue mobilization at the country's entry points. The contract was suspended, renegotiated, and re-awarded to West Blue in January 2019, but later cancelled in May 2020. Aggrieved by the move, West Blue took the matter to court, demanding a 289 million cedis as arrears of work done within the period. Responding to questions from MP for Tamale Central Murtala Mohammed, GRA boss Julius Siem, government has finally settled on a judgment debt of 95 million Ghana cedis to West Blue Ghana Limited.
To why 95 million? I cannot, in this hearing, in this public hearing, just say that I'm paying 95 million to the public without any explanation. So with permission, that was important.
That is very clear. So it means that with all the talking, indeed, we are making a payment of 95 million Ghana cedis as judgment debt.
Indeed, the judgment debt is 95 million. We will not be able to pay all 95 million. And therefore, the agreement with the court is to pay this in 3 installments.
On how the authority has fared with tax mobilization from tech giant Facebook, YouTube, and others, Commissioner in charge of domestic tax revenue, Edward Apenting Jamra, said the authority does not have any system currently monitoring the tax collection.
Mr. Chair, I think I've said that.
I didn't hear that from asking
We
again.
are thinking about that. We work in the next stage, the next phase of the e-commerce taxation in Ghana, and also to deal with the betting company, is to get a monitoring system to monitor their space. Because if you don't have a monitoring system to know what is going on and they file the return, what are you going to check with? So
now we are
the next stage that we are moving to.
So the stage we are in now is a thinking stage.
No.
Meanwhile, Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, Abna Osei-Asare, said the ministry is taking steps to cancel some 1.2 billion cedis tax owed by the ECG, Tema Oil Refinery, and some telecom operators between 2019 and 2022 because they are unable to pay.
Mr. Chairman, we have done this before. We brought it to Parliament. We went through a process, and then we brought some to Parliament for Parliament to write it off.
Okay.
If it becomes necessary, after all avenues to collect these monies have failed, we will go through that same process and then come to Parliament for permission to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
The committee returns on Tuesday to continue its probe of infractions captured in the Auditor General's report for 2023. James Savaji, Joy News.
Let's also say in Parliament, because the House is demanding answers on the circumstances surrounding a judgment debt of 95 million cedis awarded against Ghana in favor of West Blue. The company was a technical service provider for GRA at the ports until their contract was terminated by the government. GRA boss Julie Esiam confirmed the amount at a hearing of the Public Accounts Committee. But a member of the Public Accounts Committee, Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, says government must come out and explain the justification for this payment and the legal defense it put up prior to the award. Now, Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed says the judgment debt to be paid smacks of create, loot, and share.
And we can describe it as create, loot, and continue looting. That is what it means. More so when you have some describe him as an official prime minister of this country, who is now a lawyer to West Blue, who, by the way, had problems with even West Blue operating. What happened? That suddenly he has become a lawyer to West Blue, and we are now paying this amount of money. We could have avoided this if there wasn't any unjustified, termination of the contract.
I mean, finally, the House is about to go on break. You are demanding answers, and this is a very important national issue. Which institutions do you want to come and speak and what forum? Because Parliament is just about to go on break tomorrow or Friday.
Well, the fact that Parliament is going on break doesn't insulate us from continuously demanding that, information and answers to some of these questions. And that is why I think that the media, as a major stakeholder, also has a role to play. We all need to demand accountability. We all need to demand some further and better particulars as to what kind of defense, what occasioned that. But this lame argument that West Blue initially demanded $250 million and they succeeded in reducing it to $95 million, as if $95 million is no money. I think that we need to get further and better particulars or response to this question than we are being provided, for by the Commissioner General of GRA.
Now, Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin has apologized to the general public over the botched regulation that sought to allow MPs, ministers and judges to drive without speed limit and install sirens. The LI was withdrawn following intense public backlash. In a formal statement to MPs on Monday, Alban Bagbin called for reflection on the processes for subsidiary legislations to become law and assured that stringent measures are not in place to ensure such regulations do not become law.
Including ministers of state, members of parliament, and justices of the superior courts of judicature, the privilege of using sirens on our roads and exemption from speed limits. Honorable members from Western Region, this provision has been perceived by many as a means for the political class to evade the very traffic challenges that affect the general public, leading to widespread public outcry and intense debate on social media platforms. In light of these developments, and following the opposition's firm stance against the legislative instrument, the government has decided to withdraw the proposed amendments. Today, I wish to address the very key issues arising from this situation, provide clarity on the legislative process, and engage in a constructive dialogue about the future of subsidiary legislation in our beloved country. We recognize the public's perception of insensitivity, and I'm here to offer an apology and assure the Ghanaian people that this Parliament remains acutely aware of and responsive to their needs.
This is still the Joy News Prime. We'll take a quick break. Please don't go away. Welcome back from the break. Now, amid greater opportunities for women to grow to, in collaboration with the Center for Conflict Transformation and Peace Studies, has facilitated a memorandum of understanding between the Savannah Regional House of Chiefs and the Regional Department of Gender. This agreement ensures predictable and uninterrupted access to fertile land for women in the Savannah region. Funded by Global Affairs, the 5-year Grow 2 project aims to support 40,000 smallholder women and 5,000 entrepreneurs and 50 agribusinesses in the soybean, groundnut and vegetable sectors. This initiative is a significant step towards securing land access for women in the region. The event, attended by chiefs, queen mothers, landowners and various agencies, marks a crucial milestone in empowering women farmers with the land security necessary for sustainable agriculture. Isaac Nonya has the rest of the story.
The MOU, when implemented, will go a long way in eradicating the bottlenecks women face in accessing sustained fertile land in the project enclave. Women farmers continue to face challenges due to traditional practices that limit them to owning land. Therefore, the MOU marks a significant paradigm shift for these farmers. Speaking at the event, Media's Grow 2 project manager, Francis Asuma, said the project is being implemented in Savannah, Northern and Upper West regions, with a focus on groundnut and soya beans production.
about 8,928 women. These women are into savings and loans groups. And of the 8,928 women, 1,016 of them have been able to access credit from financial institutions valued at 870,000 Ghana cedis. They've gotten this money to be invested into their production activities, and they got this money through two partner financial institutions we are working with. That is Opportunity International and Vision Fund.
A senior program officer at the Center for Conflict Transformation and Peace Studies, Nerius Gago, said even though women throughout history have played a crucial role in agriculture and served as the backbone for farmer households, they are faced with limited access to land due to social-cultural practices.
An MOU that will ensure women's uninterrupted access to land for farming, a fundamental step in empowering our women and enhancing the prosperity of our communities. Throughout history, women have played a crucial role in agriculture, often as the backbone of farming households, yet their access to land has been limited by various socio-cultural and economic barriers.
On his part, the registrar of the Savannah Regional House of Chiefs, Abutu Kapuri, said the House has endorsed the MOU and appealed to landowners to cooperate to address the challenges.
The combination of women chiefs and men chiefs together in the House. So it's been fantastic and very historic. What is the reason for being together today? It is a project we call GO2, and this project is undertaken by MEDA and their collaborators and enhanced with the Regional House of Chiefs.
For catering and many other female farmers, the MOU is a step to addressing lands issues for women. From Savannah region, Isenoya.
Now, the United Nations in Ghana is urging all stakeholders in the upcoming general elections to work towards ensuring peace before, during, and after the December polls. In less than 200 days, eligible citizens will be choosing parliamentary representatives and a president to run the affairs of the country for the next 4 years. Ahead of the exercise, a special representative to the United Nations Secretary General is in the country to engage stakeholders. There's more in the following report.
The race for Ghana's presidential and parliamentary elections is heating up. And as political parties crisscross the nation canvassing for votes, stakeholders are equally concerned about ensuring peace before, during, and after the elections. Already, the United Nations Secretary General is deploying Leonardo Santos, a special representative in West Africa, to engage stakeholders ahead of this crucial exercise in Ghana.
But sometimes, because of the competition involved, some behaviors may put peace in danger, and we don't want this to happen. So prevention of violence, prevention of risky factor is part important of all this process.
The United Nations resident coordinator in Ghana, Charles Abani, tells Joy News the democracy of Ghana is important to the entire West Africa sub-region.
Ghana's democracy is extremely important, not just for Ghanaians, but for the sub-region and the continent as a whole, as we experience buffers of unconstitutional change. So it's extremely important for us that the elections are peaceful, that the elections are inclusive, which means that everybody gets the right to exercise their vote here, that it is, as much as is possible, devoid of misinformation, disinformation, and certainly devoid of hate speech. And tomorrow in Kumasi, there will be a stakeholders peace forum, which the special representative of the Secretary General for UNOAS will be attending as part of our efforts. There will be 5 of them. One was held last week in Tamale, tomorrow another one in Kumasi, and then there will be another 3 all the way down to Cape Coast and to Ho, to ensure that we cover the whole country. Obviously, Ghana's national interest is paramount. And so I think we're calling on all parties to not see this as a do-or-die affair, but to see it as really an important event or sequence of processes in Ghana's journey towards becoming a developed nation that is self-reliant and confident and taking its place on the global stage. And that if this remains the imperative, then I think everybody will act in the best interest of what is good for Ghana. And the continent of Africa will benefit as well.
Although the United Nations says it will not be deploying a standalone observer mission to monitor Ghana's elections, it stands ready to avail its skills to backing a peaceful organization of this year's elections. Blessed Sugan's report for Joy News, Accra.
Let's go election headquarters now, and it is brought to you by Persosol, your clean fuel in full quantity, and the Chartered Institute of Management Accountant, the American Institute of Certified Public Accountant, together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountant, also by the Chopbox Technologies, a convenient service, and Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging the gap for positive youth empowerment. The ongoing industrial action by the Colleges of Education teachers has created uncertainty for teacher trainees regarding their academic future. The strike, which has been prolonged for almost 2 months, has disrupted the regular academic schedule, leading to doubt about whether the trainees will be able to sit for their semester exams as planned. Leadership of the Teacher Trainees Association of Ghana has reiterated that lack of clear communication and resolution from government in addressing the demands of their trainees has left many of them in a state of limbo, unsure about how to proceed with their studies and prepare for the exams. Swale Razak is the president of the association.
This prolonged disruption has precipitated a critical crisis, jeopardizing the future of thousands of future educators. The strike has left teacher trainees in a state of uncertainty, with their academic progress halted and their future prospects hanging in the balance. The government has failed to provide clear communication regarding the resumption of academic activities and a clear path forward. We do not know whether they will be required to sit, whether we will be required to sit for examinations for the semester marked by no class attendance, or if they would need to prepare for exams amidst the strike. Also, level 400 students do not know as to whether on 7th September they will be completing from the colleges of education. The strike has imposed immense pressure and financial strain on all teacher trainees, especially the level 400 teacher trainees. Many have been compelled to extend their rental agreements, incurring additional costs.
Now, 43% of all annual deaths in Ghana are attributable to non-communicable diseases, including hypertension and diabetes. This was disclosed by the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boaje, and he has therefore underscored the need for a concerted effort to address the increasing number of non-communicable diseases and the associated deaths in Ghana. He was speaking at the launch of a free annual health checkup program by the National Health Insurance Authority in Accra. There's more in the following report.
Data from the Ghana Health Service indicates that non-communicable diseases contribute 43% of all deaths recorded in the country annually. Heart diseases, stroke and diabetes contribute to the largest national NCD burden, a situation Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boaje, describes as alarming.
Non-communicable diseases in Ghana have over the past decades posed a significant burden contributing to more than 43% of all cause mortality. That's all causes of death, accounting for about 43%. The burden of new cancer cases, for example, has been on an increasing trend, increasing significantly from 16,000 in 2016 to 24,000 by the year 2020. Similarly, but sadly, our children have not been spared of this increasing incidence of NCDs. Again, since 2017, when hypertension was reported as the third leading cause of hospital admission and the leading cause of morbidity and death in Ghana, it has steadily seen an increase in prevalence, making it an important public health issue, even in poor rural communities, with a prevalence of 24% and 30% in adult populations. These statistics present the need for us to do things differently if we are to indeed achieve the universal health coverage in about 6 years from now and attain the healthy population for economic development.
In a bid to curb the situation, the National Health Insurance Authority has launched a free annual health checkup program. Under this program, persons above age 18 and registered onto the National Health Insurance Scheme will undergo a thorough health checkup annually on their birthday or in their birth month. CEO of the NHIA, Dr. Dacosta Abuaji, believes the initiative will help in early detection and prevention of NCDs.
Early detection and interventions can prevent serious health conditions, reducing the burden of diseases, and improve quality of life. Our free annual health check program is designed with these goals in mind. By offering free comprehensive screening annually, we aim to identify potential health issues at an early stage, allowing for timely treatment and management.
Away from that, the distant spring at the base of the Mampong Scarps in the Ashanti region has served the Ninting and Hwediem communities for so many years. Every morning before dawn, the pupils of Hwediem MA and Ninting RC basic schools begin a demanding journey, trekking miles, enduring exhaustion and disrupted sleep before accessing the ground for water. In this series of Safe Water, Clinton Yeboah spends a day gauging the dire water crisis and implications on residents.
Waking at dawn, basic school pupils of Hwediem MA Basic School begin their day hours before most of their peers. At 4 a.m., they begin a vigorous exercise not to steady, but to scoop water from a distant spring at the base of the Mampong Scarp. So far from the township, about 40 minutes from the Hwediem township, this has been a daily fright of students and of residents because daily they have to journey through these bush and areas to have access to water, despite the dangers that may come. The over 135 pupils in the community bear the brunt of exhaustion from their cut-off sleep and early morning treks of long miles, while the far-reaching access to water repels teachers from staying in the Hwediem community. Head teacher of Hwediem MA Basic School, Ajiman Kwame, narrates how the tiredness impacts students who work.
What it means is that they come to school already tired because they didn't have enough rest, and when they came to school they were already tired. So teaching and learning affects the assimilation. For those who wait till daybreak before fetching water, they either come to school very late or they decide not to come at all. As a result of the water situation in the community, the teachers in this school do not live in this community. They stay in Mampong, so they commute from Mampong to this town on a daily basis.
Flowing quietly through a natural exit point, the groundwater beneath the scarps at Hwediem emerges from the aquifer, flowing onto the top to become surface water. So after a frantic journey and process to get to this area, what you see is water dripping from corners and centers of this rock. And just as you can see, you can barely see water dripping enough for people. But like this gentleman, this has been a major water supply for the people of Hwediem. I meet a lot of people here, and I don't leave early. I join very, very long queue every morning. I can spend like an hour here. How much time?
To spend it 1 hour.
The underground water lies bare without shade, allowing for more pollution from animals and erosion particles. Kwame Inti was seen washing from the same spot of the running water. He says the journey to the place is too far, and like many others, he cannot fetch and wash at home at a vigorous context in queues to get water.
Nah, say person so ban pay bre ada more village now has in Intino.
Neighboring communities also join us, so our numbers are huge, mostly in the morning. Sometimes you have to fight your way through. The assembly member of the Nintini electoral area, Nicholas Oseiusu, is calling for urgent assistance. He disclosed that engineers have identified suitable sites for drilling pipe-borne water, which would alleviate the crisis.
It's giving room for open defecation, and it's a common phenomenon when you come to Nintin. And when we visited the water source, you saw for yourself it's within a slopey area, and so when they defecate in the nearby bushes and it rains, the runoff, it drags the feces along. So all these materials also contaminate the source. That also becomes our source of living, because they say water is life.
It was so adventurous coming to Hwidiem and Nintin electoral area in the Mampon municipality. But all the adventure has been about the dire crisis of water. Lives are at risk, so is the future of many young people. Reporting for Joy News, my name is Clinton Yeboah.
All right, so welcome back. Let's do Showbiz 9. Becky Bex is here. Hi, Becky. How are you?
Hello to you, Brace. How are you doing?
I'm well.
It's a long week. It's been a long weekend, and there's been a lot happening, especially in the music industry. So we have a wrap of everything that you need to know happening with musicians here in Ghana for you here. Back in Accra, Teshinungwa can promise, together with his friends, gave fans what has been described as one-of-a-kind event. As part of Kim Promise's social responsibilities, the musician says this is a way of giving back to the community that nurtured him. In the region, we spotted Kofi Kinata, who just, got back from America, doing what he does best at the 1-year anniversary of Dumaswa in Koswahene. The event went a little bit like this. Wahala for who no be musician, no. Because it's like they're all booked and busy.
Anyway, thank you for watching the news. Remember to brush your teeth day and night with Pepsodent, because with Pepsodent, every smile matters. You killed me, yeah? All right, thank you. Prime
I killed you with a voice.